Okay, I'm just going to give you some pointers on thumbnails. So we have this one that was sent to me, and it looks great up large. I mean, look at all this detail. You see this big creature in the back, the RPD, the cars, the lights, the monsters, everything. It looks awesome as like a billboard. But when you're considering thumbnails, they're usually very small and even way smaller than this. So especially like on a phone. And then what happens is it becomes very difficult to see. So what I would do is I'm going to open up Photoshop and open up my one, like a recent thumbnail that I made or something. And if you look at, like, let's say that doesn't work. Okay, so I'm going to pull in this one and make it larger. And so, you know, if it was, whoops, I didn't hold shift when I did that. So hold shift, and supposing it was like that. Okay, same deal. So if it's very small, like when you see it, you can't see what's going on there. So for me, with this kind of thumbnail, Control T, I would make it to where all you're really seeing are the three biggest elements, like that. So it almost doesn't need text, but if you could fit text on there, fine. But right now I have these curves on here. So the curves is actually making the picture brighter. And then what I would probably do is rasterize this and go to filter, sharpen, and that's making like thick lines. And that might be a little overkill, but the point is off, on. Like I said, when it's small with the outlines, you're going to see more of the detail. I might have gone a little too far with the sharpening, but like I said, you got to exaggerate it more. And then the brightness I have on, I'm going to hit OK on that. The brightness I have on it and make it brighter. You want colors to pop. It already looks pretty good like that. You might want to make it a little brighter or not. Another thing you could do is add saturation to it to make the colors pop more. So when it's a small thumbnail, all of a sudden it's like, hey, what is that? I want to see what that is, right? But in this case, for this video is called I Died to Save My Team from the Most Toxic Face Camping Nemesis. So I would show the face camping, which is when somebody is standing right in front of the hook and they're just watching you die. And you see these friends back here, they're coming to try to save me, but they're not going to really be able to do much because this guy is just camping me, right? And just punching me in the face. So I would try to get, so look at that. Yeah, something like that, you know? I don't know how he's doing that, but something like that. And I try to get, I don't like how it's showing these yellow things behind, but you know, you could cut out the picture. There you go. Something like, I was trying to get an angle, but anyway, I would try to get a shot. Let me back up a few frames like that, you know, something like that. And then I would take my snipping tool, because I don't know why screenshots don't seem to work for me once I move to Windows whatever 10, and I would grab that, right, and I hit save as, and just save it to the desktop. There's already something named that, doesn't matter. I'm just gonna resave over it. And then, like, that might not be the perfect frame, but I don't want to waste too much time showing you. But whoops, just minimize that. Shouldn't have done that. So I'm trying to make it so I could see like this, right? So then instead I would pull in that photo, and now this one needs a lot of work because it's all dark, but once again I would pull this out to be huge like that, and maybe it should have been a different angle where it shows more of the side of the girl so you could see it, but maybe not. And over here it actually does leave some room for text if you wanted to. Let me make everything bigger now. My dog's like choking on the water he just drank. So let's say I did want to make text. I could put text over here in the worst. And then face camper. And then I'm going to take that and change it to this right side. And then Control T. And I should be able to, sorry, I should hit, I don't know what I just did. Let me go edit step backwards. That didn't work either. Edit, step forward. Okay, so I lost my text. That was a waste of time. Worst face camper. And once again, I'm going to make that right aligned. Click over here, Control T, make it bigger like that. And, you know, that could work if I put some stroke outline around it, make it like thicker, put some drop shadow behind it to make it stand out. And then what I have to do is go on the photo, rasterize that, put an adjustment layer with curves, and pop the brightness so you can really see it, like super bright. I'm going like way overboard with the brightness because this is a dark game. But then see right now it's actually got brightness on it already, and the color might be a little much, but it kind of looks good popping with colors. And then I would take this one and run it through the filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. That's way too much, so make it less thick, just sharpen up, and then take it off, and then take it on, and then hit OK. And now still this looks good. It's still kind of dark, and so the problem is there's too much going on. So I'm going to hide the text for a minute. What I'm going to do is delete all these backgrounds behind it and add a new layer and put the layer behind it. And that layer, whatever, I'm going to leave it alone for now. I'm going to go on this image, and I'm going to, and the reason I cropped her like that is because there's this text here that says take chance to escape. I mean, we could leave it there to show his hand. That might work. But I try to cut off text like that, but you can actually see a little more like that. So maybe use that, and then when you put the text back, it's not covering her so much. But what I would do here is I'm going to scooch it over just a little bit. And this part gets a little tedious, but I would start, this is what's going to take up the most time. I would start outlining the characters here. Not 100% solid, but just get a basic outline going around them. This is, like I said, this is going to take the most. I'm not going to edit this video. I'm not going to speed anything up. So I'm just doing it real time to show how long it would take. And like I said, because I'm not going to edit, because that's just going to take longer. I'm just recording this and going to post it. I'm going as fast as I can to get around everything. So I got around him, basically, his body. And if you mess up here and you double click or something, you can just reset the whole thing. So I'm going to go here, get under her arm so we get that. And keep going, keep going. I just got to get around her hair. Now hair is a little difficult to trace, although this is a video game, so it's not like real hair. And I'm just going to go around her head here. I'm going to go around the hook. Sorry, also losing my voice because I played a couple gigs and I was singing and I lost my voice basically. Okay, so I clicked here and now I'm going to hit this mask tool. Pops out. Excuse me, double click the mask. Feather it just a little bit to smooth it out. Right, hit OK. And because all that is, we could put a stroke around it to make it pop, and possibly the drop shadow too. But see how we have a blank background now. So that blank background, let's just say I want to make it a color that is going to completely contrast what's here, which could be, I know my text is yellow, but I just made it white. Well, let's say make it yellow, or yellow everything looks a little much with a little yellow already. So what we could do is actually go to the hue and saturation and put the hue on the clip itself and link it with Alt. And then when we open it and change the hue, we can change, whoops, maybe I didn't link that properly. Or I did. All right, so let's say we change the hue, see how he went purple, but he's a blue guy, right? From what I recall. So probably don't want to really change the hue on him too much. It's just an option if you needed to change colors. I'd actually probably want to like brighten him more. So I might just make another curves layer and like pop in more brightness like that. So you see more. I know it's overkill, but that's kind of what you want. And so my yellow background, I might want to change that to, I don't know, let's say like green, which that didn't work for some reason. So I'm just gonna make a new background and paint it green. That didn't work. I think the reason it didn't work, I don't know why it didn't work. Maybe because the curves are not linked to that. There we go. The curves were not linked to only that channel, but I don't know. Green isn't really working for me. Let's put the text back and see what things look like. The text is greenish, so maybe this background should be something like orange or red. But anyway, a little trial and error, and you got something like that. And then it's like, boom, when it's small, you know, it's like, what is that? But you could see it better than, you know, this when it's small. There's too much going on. There's not enough contrast, but this has a lot of contrast. And he's doing the same thing that the title says. I died to save my team from the most toxic face camper. So let's just say save as. I'm going to save this entire thing. And then that one was a little more work because I was like taking out background and stuff, but they don't all have to be that much work. And I'm going to save that and make it less than 2 megabytes, as high as you can, but less than 2 megabytes. That's going to be 1.8. But you see what I'm saying? The background's even gone. Now, if you wanted to leave background, let's say I were to do Control J and duplicate this, right? Well, that made him all thicker. But let's say I put this behind the background, right? And I'm going to take off that. I'm going to remove this delete layer mask. And then on my orange, oh, I just lost my orange color because of the hue and saturation, and the curves are not linked anymore. There we go. And then, so let's say I go to my orange layer and I change the opacity to, I don't know, let's say like 70 or 50. Now all of a sudden there's some of the background behind, so it doesn't look as plain with orange, maybe even 30. And it still looks okay because it makes the thing pop, but it's also losing some brightness. So let's say I throw on another curves and pop out some brightness. And there we go. So we still have background, and that even looks cooler. So we still see some background. And I probably want to change the text color now because it's like yellow on orange. So the text color we could probably make red, or red doesn't always translate well, but let's say, I don't know, it could be like a red pinkish color. And that kind of doesn't look that great either. So at some point it becomes a little trial and error. It could be blue to match the nemesis. But it could be something dark to pop against the lighter yellow. But then what happens is all that black drop shadow and outline now becomes like blurry. So we might want to take off the drop shadow and take off the stroke. Or if we put the stroke on, maybe we want to change the color to something brighter. But this part becomes a little trial and error to see like what actually fits. We could change the text and all that, but this is just the idea of what you can do here. The stroke, I feel like the stroke should probably be black again. And then outside the stroke, we could put something like an outer glow and make it, like I said, it's all a little trial and error. You could change the font, but once you get something nice, you could use the same template for another thumbnail. You change this to the inside, and it's a little thin now, but you might want to change this to worst faced camp because it takes up less, and then we can make it bigger like that, and it covers her a little bit but not a lot, and then like that, it's like boom, you got some big text. I could take off, I'll take off the exclamation point, and it's less, and so like nice and small, all of a sudden you got like a thumbnail that if it was really tiny, you'd still be able to see like, oh, what is that video? I want to see what that video is, you know. And it's a different idea than this would make like a nice billboard and a nice big photo for something, a banner, you know. That would make a cool banner or something if it was, you know, outlined, you know, cut off from here up, and it was making like a nice banner, if you get what I mean. But it's a nice picture, but you get what I'm saying. The idea for a thumbnail needs to be different. It needs to be 2 or 3 elements, 1, 2, 3 elements popping out big, maybe some text big popping out, a background that's non-distracting. It doesn't have all that other stuff going on in the photo because there's too much going on here. It's like when you look at it small, it's like, what is all that? And that's just the way thumbnails are. Look at thumbnails on YouTube, and that's the good ones are like that. But aside from that, if we really wanted to tweak things more, we could go in here and take off, like fix the, we don't have to do this, but let's say we wanted to, you know, try to fix her shirt so we're not seeing the text. You know, that, there you go. Basically, it's not perfect, but a quick fix. Like I said, it's a thumbnail. No one's going to be really seeing it so small. Seeing there. Fix her arm a little bit. And it's also, I think the one from beneath is showing through. No, maybe not. Anyway, it's close enough. It looks better than it did. You don't really see that text anymore. So file, save, and then file, save. It's waiting for it to save down at the bottom here. Saving, file, save as, and save it as a JPEG again. And then I'm just gonna save over that, and then I'm just going to, oh, see, now it says 2.4 megabytes. Got to make it smaller. 1.4 is fine. And then I'm going to upload that. But that's the idea behind it. And over here, we could also, I missed his hand. We can also kind of fix up his hand. There we go. Save it again. I'll save the JPEG first this time. Save over it, and then save as. I'm just going to save the PSD, and then there. And then next time you have another one, you can pop it in the same template, and you know, you still have things here, adjustment layers and whatnot. Now the adjustment layers, if you hold Alt and click here, it applies it to that particular layer. So you got to be careful with that. So I do want to apply it to just that layer. I totally messed up now. So I got to go back. I'm just, the easiest way I think is to go back a few steps there. But that way, you know, see, that was what the picture would look like without the orange layer and without taking out the background. But now with it, it makes everything pop out more, and it just looks so much better on the eyes. If I were to take that off and you look at it small, it's like you don't see what you're looking at, but you pop that in, all of a sudden, oh, it's the Nemesis and he's standing in front of the girl on the hook. You know, that's the idea behind making thumbnails. All right. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't know why you'd share this, but subscribe. And that was pretty long, 20 minutes.